So, Judges 9 was basically talking about how Abimelech, son of Gideon, approached the people of Shechem and, he wanted to be their king. So he offered to be their king or his 70 brothers. He gave them a choice. Choose between me or my 70 other brothers. Who would you want to rule you? So somehow they picked him, right? And gave him 70 pieces of silver as whatever it was. He used that money to hire some extra thugs, and with the help of the thugs, he killed his other 70 other brothers, right? And he took power and became the ruler of Shechem, right? So as God will have it, one of the brothers survived, Jotham, right? So Jotham hid and was able to survive the massacre. He now gave a parable which gave us some insight into how he viewed Abimelech, right? So during the parable, he spoke about an olive tree, a grape tree, but if you follow the parable, you see that he thought of Abimelech as a thorn bush, not even a tree, right? A bush of thorns, right? So you see the condition the thorn bush gave was that come under me, under my shelter, or I will send fire to consume you, technically. So it was you had no choice, basically, right? Abimelech gave you guys an illusion of a choice. There was no choice in this decision. Abimelech was always going to take power, right? So he made it seem like you guys had a choice, but you guys didn't have a choice, really. You were stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea, technically, right? So that was how Jotham portrayed Abimelech. You can see that Abimelech was, not an upright person from the get-go, right? So somehow he was able to rule them for up to about 3 years, right? But maybe the cries of the people, God heard the cries of the people and somehow sowed a spirit of discord amongst Abimelech and his people, right? So that was what happened. There was an evil spirit behind the scenes causing problems within the camp of Abimelech, right? That was what God did. God sent that spirit of discord, maybe in as a way to avenge the blood that Abimelech spilled of his 70 brothers, right? That was God's hand, right? So what manifested as a result of that spirit was the fact that there was now an uprising. Technically, there was an uprising. Different members of his camp now talking trash, technically, about Abimelech and, trying to usurp his government by the words they said, right? The words they spoke and all of that. So Abimelech got wind of all these murmurings around different factions and stuff and decided to take them down as any tyrant, what he saw would want to, right? So obviously we know that God is behind all of this, the discord being sown amongst his camp and all of that. So God was doing the back end, and this front end manifestation was all these murmurings from different corner, right? So Abimelech took action and chased out the usurpers, killed the ones he could kill, even went at a certain point when they took refuge in the tower, burnt the tower, right? Women and children died. So he was on a roll and felt invincible. Then on his way to a second tower to kill more people, a woman, right, threw a stone that hit his head, and probably he knew he was going to die from that stone, so he instructed one of his men to take his own life, lest they say a woman killed him, right? So, and he died, and that was how his reign ended, right? So we can say three years of whatever, right? So what can we learn from this? I think obviously, first things first, don't be a bad person now, right? Don't just do evil and expect it to go under the rug. You might have spent some time enjoying the evil, maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years going on, and you think, okay, I mean, I've actually gotten away with this, but there will always be a time when things can change in the twinkle of an eye. Things can change so quickly because of the evil seed you have sown in the past. It doesn't just go away right? There are always consequences for the evil decisions we make, right? So that's one. Then the help that even came was from a woman. So technically, women were not pillars of strength back in those days, right? So to be killed by a woman self was seen as an abomination, technically, right? So it was the least of the nobody expected it to happen by a woman's hand, right? But that was what happened. So last he was killed by a woman, which no one expected, right? So God can use anyone, right, at a point, even when to take down any evil, or He can use them the most unexpected things or unexpected persons or scenarios to do His work, right? So, and also, God will always avenge His own, right? You can't just spill people's blood for nothing and expect no repercussion. There will always be consequences. God will always avenge His own. He won't let His own just be wasted for nothing, right? So that was how the reign of Abimelech came to an end. So that's basically it. There are always consequences for wrong actions, right? God help can come from anywhere, from anyone, right? Don't underestimate. Don't feel. Also, even on our own personal work, there should be no point where you feel too invisible or too strong to ask God for help or for guidance, right? Even if you are being a tyrant and God say go and do this and this, always still do your tyranny with God's guidance, right? Let him guide you. Let him be your. Look towards him, right? Look towards him for direction and guidance, basically. So that's that. Thank you very much.